When we do training in a typical environment, maybe they'll go to a simulator and shoot at a screen, and that's great training and it has its place. Or they'll go to the rifle range and they'll fire the machine gun laying down at a paper target. But there's nothing like shooting from a moving platform at another target that is moving in the water.
It's the best training that we could get besides actually being in the situation. There's just so many little things that you don't expect to throw you off, that when you're actually doing it, you start becoming more used to it. So whenever the situation arises, it doesn't surprise you.
Well, Citadel Protect is an exercise we've started probably about 5-6 years ago. And it's an anti-terrorism type exercise, but more importantly, it's an exercise that uses our harbor security personnel and our Joint Base security personnel, and we integrate that with the ship's personnel.
I absolutely loved it. I enjoy scenarios like this, exercises, because one of the things I've always wanted to do is kick down doors. So this gives me the opportunity to not necessarily kick down doors, but still operate a weapon, still be that ATFP, still be that defender, still be able to take care of situations like this, and also not get rusty. Next shooter! Well, with simulated rounds, the way that it works is it gets people more accustomed to the weapon firing. Because if you use red guns all the time, you're never going to have someone get used to the butt stock in their shoulder, get used to actually having a stock-weld eye relief, get used to actually putting rounds down range. Even if they're fake, even if they're blanks, you're still technically putting rounds down range.
When you're actually shooting and the rounds count, then you actually want to shoot right like you were trained. You know, if we're just using blue guns, then you're supposed to use cover, but there's not that same level of motivation.
For our first time coordinating this kind of drill with ship personnel and security, I think they did great. The ship did a really good job of isolating my movements, meaning they kept me under pressure, I was focusing on them, and I didn't really know when security was coming.
I believe that this is the type of training that we've got to have. It is very realistic. They're using their tactical weapons in the environment that they're expected to respond to. That's what's most important to me, is that we can train those sailors so that they know how to do their job when they're called upon. And we owe it to those sailors to give them the very best training. We owe it to the mothers and fathers of all these sailors that allowed their sons and daughters to go in the military. We want them to be trained and know what to do. That's what makes it so very important.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate
Yes, sir.
all the support.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, sir.